Join me as I take on Winlator in a crazy match that will have you on the edge of your seat with all the ups and downs. Winlator, for those who may not know, is an incredibly challenging game that requires strategy, skill, and a whole lot of patience. As a gamer, I've always been drawn to games that push me to my limits, and Winlator is definitely one of them. I've spent countless hours playing it, and I have to say, it's become somewhat of an obsession for me. When I first started playing Winlator, I was pretty confident in my abilities. I mean, I've played plenty of games before, and I've beaten some tough ones too. But Winlator was different. It was like nothing I'd ever experienced before. The game is designed to be brutally difficult, with levels that seem impossible to beat and enemies that are relentless in their pursuit of you. At first, I was frustrated, to say the least. I died more times than I can count, and I was on the verge of throwing my controller out the window. But I didn't give up. I kept pushing forward, determined to beat this game no matter what it took. One of the biggest challenges I faced was the lack of checkpoints. You have to complete an entire level in one go, or you have to start all over again from the beginning. It's tough, let me tell you. I lost count of how many times I got to the final boss, only to die and have to start all over again. It was infuriating, but it was also kind of exhilarating. I mean, when you finally do beat a level, the sense of accomplishment is incredible. As I progressed through the game, I started to develop new strategies and techniques. I learned how to use my abilities more efficiently, and I figured out ways to exploit the enemy's weaknesses. It was a slow process, but I was determined to get better. And eventually, I did. I started to beat levels that I thought were impossible, and I felt like I was getting closer to finally defeating the game. But even with all the progress I made, there were still moments of pure frustration. There were times when I felt like giving up, when I thought I just couldn't do it anymore. But something inside of me kept driving me forward. I wanted to prove to myself that I could do it, that I could beat this game and come out on top. The journey through Winlator was a wild ride, full of ups and downs and twists and turns. There were moments of pure joy, when I finally beat a level or defeated a tough boss. And there were moments of pure despair, when I died for the 100th time and felt like I was getting nowhere. But through it all, I learned so much about myself and about gaming in general. I learned that perseverance and determination can take you a long way, and that even when things seem impossible, you can still find a way to overcome them. And then, it happened. I finally beat Winlator. I'm not going to lie, it was an incredible feeling. I felt like I was on top of the world, like I could conquer anything. The sense of accomplishment was overwhelming, and I couldn't help but let out a loud whoop of excitement when the final boss went down. I'm not ashamed to say that I even got a little teary-eyed. It was that emotion. When I look back on my experience with Winlator, I realized that it was about so much more than just beating the game. It was about pushing myself to my limits, testing my patience and my perseverance, and seeing just how far I could go. It was about growing as a gamer and as a person, and learning to overcome even the toughest obstacles. So, if you're a gamer like me, I want to hear from you in the comments below. What's the toughest game you've ever beaten, and what did you learn from the experience? And if you're new here, consider subscribing for more gaming content and challenges like this one. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next video.